Okay, so welcome to week 2 from Neurotic to Erotic. The tool that I want to bring this week is really a continuation of the mirror work that was introduced last week and sinking into your sacred goddess space. And the focus of this week is awakening your hips and your womb space. So, to really start to bring more attention to how your hips are feeling and what connection or what disconnection you may notice with what we refer to as the womb space, the second chakra area, lower belly. I know that in some situations, women have had surgeries where the uterus has been removed, but I really want to emphasize that we're feeling this space, even an energetic space, even if physically the uterus isn't there, there's an energetic womb space that we are here to honor and connect with. So the invitation at first would be to come to the mirror, to tap back into this feeling of gazing into your eyes and loving the look on your face and meeting your smile and just overall enjoying the essence of your beauty and also seeing what thoughts are coming up. It's like a moving meditation of what interesting thoughts might arise while we are coming to face ourselves in the mirror. And then to put on some music that feels fluid, sensual, something that really calls to hip rolling and hip moving. And you're going to feel your feet grounded. You're going to tap into your breathing, using your experience with any other modalities like yoga, things that get you grounded and in a moving meditative space. And my invitation would be to do this in either some clothing that feels very sexy to you, or to do this naked and to begin to roll your hips, begin to move them, exploring how that feels for you, noticing where it's tight, noticing where it feels a bit clunky or if it's smooth. So you're really going to be staying with your breath and then trying to move your hips in figure eight motions, front to back, side to side, exploring all these different shapes so you can get to know like where it feels really amazing and smooth and where it feels tight and you want to spend a little more energy and a little more care sending breath into that area. So another interesting thing is when you are gazing at yourself in the mirror and perhaps standing naked, this is where you might say, okay, let's say you're having a critical thought and you're like, I don't really like how I look in this angle, or I don't like the way my stomach looks here, or my hips look there. This is where my suggestion of having this beautiful basket with tools and items that you can just choose from is really helpful. So I had said maybe you want to have a sarong or silk surround. So my invitation is that you beautify yourself however that feels right for you. So if you are feeling a little judgy about yourself or critical, then dress yourself up even more. Take a silk, wrap it around your waist, find a beautiful item of clothing that just makes you feel so good, and then continue with the hip movements. So my invitation is always to consider, how can I love myself even more? How can I fall in love with myself even more? How can I beautify myself even more in this moment? So here you are, you've got your hands on your hips, you're moving, rolling, and you're starting to breathe into this womb space. So you've got your hands placed in your lower belly, and we're just trying to, at the beginning, maybe even just imagine or visualize this incredible, potent, creative space, this void filled with creative potential. As women, we've been, so disconnected from our bodies, either through cultural conditioning, societal conditioning, trauma. And for so many of us, it's this completely disconnected aspect of our body when in fact it is our center of our power, of our intuition, of our sexuality, and of our creativity. So our journey is to come back into bridging this connection so that we can feel this incredible beauty exuding through us in all moments. And we're just wanting to wake up the pelvic bowl. We're going to begin to feel that music, feel this creative space, and caress your body. Like, how does it feel when your hands slowly slide over your hips and over your rounded belly? And how does it feel to run your hands down your legs? And the way that you are looking at yourself in the mirror is as if you're going to seduce yourself. So that's your real feeling, is like, how am I going to turn myself on? How am I going to awaken this life force within me? And as soon as we start moving the hips, it's amazing what type of energy we start to move. There's often this image of a snake, like in Kundalini yoga, we've got this snake coiled at the base of our spine. So the more we start rocking and rolling and moving and breathing and grounding and just being open to what's happening, we could imagine or feel that the energy is awakening at the base of the spine, and this serpentine snake is starting to move through the womb and move up through the spine and start to awaken through each chakra up to the crown of our head, which is suddenly now bringing us into alignment. When so often when we talk about from neurotic to erotic, our head is off doing one thing, our body's off doing something else. We don't know how we're feeling, so the breath and the hip movement and the openness to raising this creative, divine, feminine energy is the start to seeing how that can make you feel throughout your day. So I love the flirting. I love the feeling that you're falling in love with your unique essence. And when you know what that beautiful, unique sexual flirty essence is, then you have so much more connection and confidence when you're out sharing it with others. So I know for me, when it comes to womb work, um, I'd say like my my experience up until about 4 years ago was complete disconnection. Like, I didn't have any internal sensations. I didn't have any internal, like during sex, I didn't have any feeling of sensation in the vaginal canal, the cervix, nothing. I was extremely cut off. I didn't even understand what the hype was. Like, I didn't have the movement connected to my body. Even though I considered myself a sexual person, I was not connected to the depth of pleasure that I could access. And so, because I am a heady kind of person and kind of critical of myself, I was quite judgy on myself. Like, oh, I can't even feel my womb. Like, I felt a bit like a failure as a woman. I felt discouraged. Like, how was I even gonna begin any of this? And so my biggest takeaway was, it really is true to start imagining it. Even if you have zero sensations, you have a womb space, and you could imagine, like, for me, I imagine it's like a sacred land, a sacred earth, and it has nothing going yet, but seeds can be planted, and seeds of inspiration. So yes, there are seeds to give birth to human life, and it's also a space to plant any seeds of creativity. So just to begin to envision this incredible potential in your imagination, it was for me the beginning of creating some sort of connection. And so even if you're just holding that vision and then still coming back to your movements, if you're feeling clunky, in your hips, it's like, okay, well, I can just work in this area. I can show up every day. And like for me, sometimes I notice, oh, my right side is very smooth when I'm rolling my hips, but when I go to the left, it feels a little tighter. So we're always wanting to adjust and bring balance to the left and the right side. So there's so many interesting things you can observe just from noticing how it feels to roll your hips. And then if you already feel like really comfortable in this area of dance with hip movement and feeling really fluid, then you can just, enhance that experience and bring new movements, explore and experience new types of movements. You might want to bring in a little more of the belly dancing movement, where it's really precision, shift from side to side, like you get music that has more of a precise drum beat, and then you're really like shifting your hips to the beat because it brings such incredible muscle movement and capability and precision to be able to really shimmy from left to right or like find different rhythms and bring in that belly dancing element. I think throughout the exploration, it's just let the music take you. Really find music that you love. I'll put my SoundCloud link as well here so that you can just explore different music. And I love following music, and even if that's not the exact song you want but you like that style, then you get to go off on rabbit holes and explore all kinds of different music that speaks to you. Yeah, so we're really um, honoring this creative space and this snake energy that's going to rise up. So you're going to spend the week, however much time you have, dropping in front of the mirror. And even if you only have a minute, just bring that awareness to your hips, bring that awareness to your breath, bring that awareness to the creative potency of your womb. And another tool that did make a huge difference for me in awakening and beginning to awaken the sensations and to bring some connection back was the yoni egg, which maybe you have one already, maybe you use it all the time, maybe you want to bring it back into a practice, or it's something that you've considered. But I really found that it was like a sacred process, and I had a lot of resistance at first. I think my type of personality gets discouraged, so I get a little bit like, no, I don't want to do, like, I don't want to put myself out there to try something new if I feel like it's not going to work for me or something. So there's this resistance. But when I finally chose to do it and had the egg, I really found through different women that I had been following at the time, like there's a lot to be said for waiting for your body to be ready for the egg. So I think at first, so much of our disconnection is because we've been overriding our internal yeses and nos for so long that I personally didn't slow down enough to know what a yes or a no was. So I'd just like pop it in there, but I actually would feel like a slight what I now understand is the yoni speaks very clearly if you listen. So for a long time I didn't listen to her, so of course there's a little irritation or burning or anger or something comes up. So once I started to understand that I was waiting for that my yoni was welcoming this egg, so I would just hold the egg at the entrance, and once I felt like I had no resistance, I would place it in my yoni, and I would just use it, like I would keep it in me for like at 3 hours, 4 hours, just throughout my day. One of the tips I had from a tantric woman that I worked with for a while was just to like you would forget about it, but then every so often when you remember, you just give yourself a squeeze and you just try to feel it a little bit or just know that it's there. It's suddenly like creating a sensation that I needed to start to build some bridge back. So there's that way to use it where it's simply like placed inside you and then remembered every so often. You can also use it just for a shorter time. Some people like to place little like a weight or something on a string and just do some squeezing so that you can tighten the pelvic floor muscles. So there's lots of different ways that you could explore working with it. There's so much information that you could gather, but I would suggest adding that into a practice starting this week if you really want to keep building back this womb awareness, because that was the beginning of bringing my sensation back into the whole yoni, womb, pelvic region. And something I find so beautiful that um, was something I don't know, I heard not like a little while ago. Like we know that as women, we really live in we're really comfortable in our hearts. And we like, if we meet a partner or we meet somebody that we're falling in love with, like we tend to be, let's say we're talking about the masculine feminine relationship. The feminine tends to be much more comfortable in her heart. And when you're forming a relationship with someone, the woman is, a little more comfortable speaking from that place. And the man actually has more of a closed heart, and it takes longer for them to tap into what they're feeling, how they're feeling. Is it safe? Can I come out? Can I share my heart? And for women, it's it's the womb, it's the yoni, that's the closed up part. And the man is very comfortable in their body. So in the beginning of a relationship, a man's body that they want to share, that's open, ready to go. And it's the woman who's like, okay, is it safe? Can I show up? How, like, can I unfurl just a little bit? And I love holding that as just a beautiful polarity and beautiful reality that we do have a very tender, delicate, beautiful body like a flower bud that takes time to open and blossom. So, this practice right now is to build trust with yourself that you honor this delicate flower and that you start to listen to this very quiet, subtle yes or no about what your yoni needs or wants or doesn't want. That's part of this trust building so that the the connections and the pleasure begins to come back online. Because for me, I see my life, I see my soul in lifetimes, and I know that it's been lifetimes of disconnection. And I can only imagine for most of us as women that it's not just this lifetime that's been challenging. It's many incarnations of being disconnected through some sort of trauma that's brought us to this point now at this incredible time in the world where we've got the feminine rising back, that we have a lot of shedding to do and a lot of trust building to do with ourselves now as we have this amazing opportunity to reconnect with all of our parts. So, is there anything else here? Yeah. The other thing that I thought is worth saying is that each week the tool is brought as an opportunity, as an invitation. And I also want to honor, when we're talking about building trust in ourselves, that as women, we're moving constantly through this cycle, of spring, summer, fall, winter, typically, certainly when we're in our menstrual phase of life. So we're always each week feeling a little different in our bodies. So maybe one week the tool isn't seducing yourself in front of the mirror and feeling sexy. Maybe that would be the thing that would get you out of your head. Or maybe that week it's all I really need is a warm blanket and a lot of nurturing and journal writing and quiet time. So all of these tools end up being in your basket that you get to pull at any time. But if I bring a tool one week and you're really not feeling it, but sometimes if we're in a little bit of a neurotic place, we might be saying, oh, I should be doing it, but I'm being lazy, or let's be really discerning about what that internal dialogue is and start to notice if we're making excuses for ourselves and we're just being a little bit complacent, or if we're genuinely needing something different that week. So one of the biggest things that we're doing is when we're becoming the one for ourselves, which is a big thing I've been talking about, and I feel like it's like an undercurrent of all of this erotic reclamation, is that we're becoming our number one love of our life first. And that's built by reconnecting with the trust that we can build in ourselves and not abandoning. So all the time we get to, be discerning about what our needs are, even if someone's suggesting we try something differently, just to be clear on what our heart and body is calling for right now. And I also, the serenity prayer, which is used for a lot of things, I find it so beautiful, and I find it really supportive of falling back in love with ourselves, because we as women are being asked to develop such deep love for ourselves. And sometimes we come up against aspects of ourselves that we wish were different, or we want to change and we're stuck with. Or now we live in this culture where you could go and change a bunch of things for, um, I guess, through surgeries and things. But it's like, what peace can we make with what body we came into this world with? So just to be able to say, God, grant me with the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Because I feel like there's these two pieces that we get to work with through our erotic reclamation. We get to make a beautiful peace with the aspects of us that are just who they are and how they are. And there are parts of us that we can work on and change as well. So I just love this, keeping this in our minds. I know that coming into mirror work is an opportunity to feel the body that you're in at this moment, and to be making micro movements over time. My experience through yoga for the last 25-ish years is that I came into it because of really troubling back pain in my early 20s, and it's given me this really big perspective that it's been micro movements of adjustment over a really long period of time that's bringing the healing to me. Like, for me, it's um, like on a skeletal level, things are out of balance, bones aren't quite holding in the right position, and then muscles get twisted up around that, and pain is created. And it just doesn't happen overnight, but micro adjustments over time with dedication and love, and not like no destination. It's really just a journey, makes such a difference over time. And I feel that that's the same with, I brought up comments on like how we smile, or if sometimes I might notice that my left corner of my mouth doesn't raise up as high as my right, and I can like make changes to my body slowly over time, which is so empowering. So it's, what do I have to accept, and what can I keep playing with and tweaking and changing, because we are malleable, and we do know that our cells regenerate, and we have like a fresh body every 7 years on some level. So what an exciting thing to play around with. Same with bringing aliveness and connection back to our womb. Like, we're constantly changing, and we're here to upgrade and up level and nourish. So the more we're breathing and grounding and loving and like catching the thoughts that aren't serving us and bringing more love into our bodies, it's kind of miraculous, the things that can shift and happen. So this week, I invite you to bring the movement into your hips and explore your womb, and just notice, where do I feel connection? Where do I not? How do I meet that? And what tools do I want to start playing around with to just, deepen that erotic connection? So I hope you have a lot of fun with this week, and check out music suggestions I have as well to get you dancing. Thanks.